What's up, Yankees universe? KOD Nation, a stand up. It is 11 o'clock on the drop, and we are in the drop top. This is another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. I be your host, Project Nerd HQ. I know Yankee fans were a bit upset after this weekend, but I think we can all have a collective sigh. Let's just do this right now before we start the conversation. Let's just, you know why? Because this team is still at 61 wins. This team still, even though we split a series with the Boston Red Sox, the guys from Beantown, even though we split a series with them, we still have a 14 lead in the division, 14 game lead in the division. Like I said, we are still at 61 wins, still the best record in baseball by far. I think it's 5 games ahead of the Houston Astros, or 4 games ahead for the best record in all of baseball, right? So we can take a collective sigh. Now, was there some things, especially last night, make you scratch your head? Absolutely. Absolutely. So before I get into any crazy nonsense, I'm going to start off right here. JMO, Jameson Tyone, paging Jameson Tyone. Because the Jameson Tyone I've been seeing in these 7 to 8 starts where his ERA is ballooned to over 7, I wonder, is this the same Jameson Tyone from the beginning of the season? Did he have an encounter with a body snatcher? Because the Jameson Tyone we're seeing right now is not the Jameson Tyone we saw in April and we saw in May, when he was pitching 7 or 8 innings to an ERA that was below 2.5. Hell, he still has 9 wins on the season. He's still trying to get to 10 wins. He's been doing that for the past 4 or 5 starts. So Jameson Tyone has been struggling. This pitching staff as a whole has been struggling. You know, Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, they figured out that cutter. Jameson Tyone, Jordan Montgomery. Even though Jordan Montgomery was the only starting pitcher on our staff that was able to have a solid start against the Boston Red Sox. We didn't see Luis Severino against Boston, but we'll see Luis Severino against the Cincinnati Reds. You know, we got a day off today. We got a series starting tomorrow with the Reds. We'll see Luis Severino then. But so far, this pitching staff, as it is right now, it needs a jolt of life. It needs some type of energy in it because our pitching staff is struggling. There you go. Shout out my brother Jigga Man Porter. He said abducted by aliens. Absolute man. Those monsters from Space Jam came, the Monstars, and they sucked away the talent of the star in the rotation. Like I said, collective sigh, because even with the struggles the starting rotation has had, and even the bullpen, I'll get to the bullpen in a little bit, our pitching staff is still the second best pitching staff, has the second best ERA in all of Major League Baseball behind the LA Dodgers. So, like I said, we could be frustrated with the play from this team for these past 2 weeks, dating back to the series with Toronto right before we saw the Houston Astros. We allowed Toronto to get back in the game. Should have been a game we won. Same thing with Houston. That game in Houston, we should have won that game. So a bunch of shoulda, woulda, couldas. But like I said, collective side, we are still in first place. We still have 61 wins, you know, and Brian Cashman, we trust, because you know Brian Cashman is going to make not just one, but several moves at the trade deadline. The team that we're seeing right now on paper, this roster, it's not a finished product. This is not going to be the team that's going to represent us in the postseason. No. John Heyman reported over the weekend that the Yankees and the Kansas City Royals have been in heavy conversations circling around Andrew Benintendi. Andrew Benintendi is a target that we've talked about on this show. It's a target that's been associated with the Yankees ever since the beginning of the season. My man Keith, he says, I think it's just a sign of fatigue for the pitchers. Since the season started late, it's catching up to us. Yeah, 100%. And on top of that, Keith, on top of that as well, good morning, my brother. On top of that as well, besides Garrett Cole, we have 3 starting pitchers who are coming back off of injury. We have one who's never pitched more than 80 innings, 88 innings in a single season. And he did that last year. So with Nestor Cortez being stretched out properly, not sure if he's going to be able to crack that 150 inning mark. With Jameson Taillon, who's coming back off of injury, Jordan Montgomery coming back off of injury as well, Luis Severino coming back off of injury, with 3 pitchers coming back off of injury, 1 pitcher who needs to be stretched out. We need to add a starting pitcher. Besides Andrew Benintendi, who I think is going to be a solid bat, probably is going to be cheaper than an Ian Happ or a Brian Reynolds. Ian Happ was just named to the All-Star team as well. So with those 3 pitchers who are coming back off of injuries, Nestor Cortez being stretched out, we need to add a starting pitcher. And I would say Luis Castillo would be the perfect candidate for that slot. Tomorrow, I know the Yankees don't have a game tonight, but tomorrow we'll be having a special trade episode where we break down the trade deadline. We break down potential trades, who we want, who we don't want, what packages we want to give up. We'll be doing that tomorrow. I will be joined by my man, my brother Jigga Man Porto. So yeah, tune in for that tomorrow, because Andrew Benintendi, Luis Castillo, and an Alex Colomé from the Colorado Rockies, I can see all 3 of them being additions to this team. Moving forward, though, Aaron Boone, a couple head scratchers. Not going to lie. Now, Saturday's game that we lost, he brought in Clay Holmes, which you bring in Clay Holmes in the 8th with 2 outs, right? You can do that. But then you see what happened. Now, granted, Clay Holmes wasn't knocked around. He didn't give up a home run. He didn't give up back-to-back. No, it was soft contact that just was able to find a hole and land fair. Clay Holmes has been lights out this entire season for us. So if he has a hiccup like he had on Saturday, you're just going to have to take it. Now, if you would have asked me, seeing the moves that Boone made, he brought in Wandy Peralta. If you was going to bring in Wandy Peralta later on in the game, I would have brought Wandy Peralta in that 8th inning. Have him face the 8th inning with 2 outs instead of Clay Holmes. Have Clay Holmes start an inning fresh. Personally, me. Or instead of Wandy Peralta, and also Wandy Peralta has had a solid season for us. His ERA is just over 2, just a little bit over 2. So Wandy Peralta is a solid pickup from Brian Cashman. He had a rough outing Saturday, but he's been solid for us in this entire season. Just like, fans wanted to get on Garrett Cole for his performance Thursday against the Red Sox when he gave up 2 home runs to Rafi Devers, 5 runs overall. But when you look at Garrett Cole's overall work for the season, his numbers, they're solid. Ever since we got Garrett Cole signed with us, he has not missed the start. And I'm going to keep hammering that point home, because if we would have signed Garrett Cole to a $300 million contract and he's missing starts here and there, needs to take some time to go with his family here and there. If that was happening with Garrett Cole, Yankee fans would be having his head on the chopping block, just like Joey Gallo. Hold on one second. So yeah, Garrett Cole has been solid for us. I'm not going to jump on the beat up Garrett Cole train. No, we're going to save that for the postseason, because if the postseason shows up and we see Garrett Cole with the same mediocrity we saw against the Red Sox this past postseason, then it's time to bring out the off with his head. The queen, off with his head. Then that's when we're going to start doing that. But split a 4-game series with the Red Sox. We took 2. Tough split. I know us Yankee fans wanted to sweep, wanted to put our foot on the neck of the Boston Red Sox and don't let go. But hey, you can't go 162-0, right? We had this tough 2 games that now Brian Cashman, the front office, Aaron Boone, we could recognize what our problem is. Because as great as this team is, it's not going to be good if we have this man in the lineup, Joey Gabagoo Gallo. And I'm sorry to keep saying it. I'm sorry to just be picking on him, but his numbers, you just have to go by his numbers. Now, it's not a small sample size anymore because we're coming on the anniversary, I think within the next couple weeks, of Brian Cashman making this deal for Joey Gallo, getting an Anthony Rizzo. And if you check out Joey Gallo's numbers with us last year, I brought him up on the stream last time we talked. But Joey Gallo, in the same amount of games, was hitting 160. Almost the same amount of plate appearances. Got the same amount of hits. Is striking out more this year. Less home runs this year. Less RBIs this year. Right now, Joey Gallo is a glorified 5th outfielder on this team. His playing time is gone. Matt Carpenter is in that spot. And we've seen what Matt Carpenter did this weekend. Matt Carpenter's hitting over 330. Matt Carpenter has 10 home runs, the same amount as Joey Gallo, more RBIs than Joey Gallo, and almost a third of the at-bats. Matt Carpenter, I know in Boston we was calling him Matt Carpenter. Oh, Pinstripe Chronicles, what is good? Hey, if you want to join the conversation, we are on YouTube as well. You can click the link in the bio, but I'm going to just read it off of IG. See, Gallo is too inconsistent to be an everyday player. Absolutely. Shout out to the Pinstripe Chronicles for that, 100%. And the sad thing too, right, Pinstripe Chronicles, and I wanted to save this for tomorrow, but I'll say it now. A sad thing too is that next year, when the shift is gone, right, and there's no more shifting in baseball, Joey Gallo's batting average is probably going to jump from 160 to 240, 250, 260. That's if he's still in baseball. I'm not sure if he goes to San Diego and then he turns into Joey Babe Ruth Gallo in the second half of the season, but I don't want to try to wait for any of that over here. His time is done. He's too inconsistent, like Pinstripe Chronicle says. He's a 5th outfielder. My man Keith said, look at the Nationals. I'm sure they're regretting that contract they gave Strasburg. Yeah. 100%. 35, 38 million they're paying Strasburg, and he's only pitched once since that playoff run, since they won the World Series. And Aroldis Chapman as well. Stick a fork in him. He's done. Stick a fork in Aroldis Chapman. He's done. I know he got soft contact and he was hurt by soft contact yesterday, but stick a fork in Aroldis Chapman. He's done. He's done. We need another bullpen arm. That's why I brought up Alex Colon from the Colorado Rockies, right? That would be a decent, solid addition to this bullpen. We got Zach Britton, who's going to be coming back from August, but we don't even know if Zach Britton's going to be able to give us 70, 80% of what he once was. Zach Britton had Tommy John surgery last September. He's coming back. He's shaping back up into shape. He will be starting back with us in August. Last time I checked, last night. Let's see. He said, want to become famous? But listen, for the love of the game, Knights of DJ, we are already famous, all right? We don't need no ads. We don't need to buy no followers. We are good. We are good. But yeah, this team is in the position it's in while having an everyday player play the way that Joey Gallo was playing until his playing time got taken away. Right? And I'm glad it happened now. And it didn't happen later on. Joey Gallo has to go. hate to say it, don't want to be super negative. We don't wish bad on anyone, first and foremost. I don't want Joey Gallo to feel like, oh, you guys just want to beat up on me this entire season. Listen, Joey Gallo, as much as we beat up on you when you're bad, guarantee you, if you was to start a stretch, say like in the next week, to carry us for 2 or 3 weeks, do you know that I will probably be one of the first ones out there rooting for you. We want to see you succeed. We don't want you on this team sucking. We don't want you on this team performing the way you're performing. That's not what we have. That's not what we envision as fans. We want to support you, right? But when you're struggling this bad and you've come out and said that you're not switching the way you the way you come at the game, you're not going to switch your game plan, you're not going to switch that, right? You're saying this, that you're not going to switch, you're not going to change, but you see what's going on. Oh, Pinstripe Chronicles, you're requesting on Instagram Live. Let me see, because I'm not sure if anybody's going to be able to hear you from over there. Oh, it's not there anymore. Oh, there you go. Salute, my guy. Hey, how's it going? Chilling, baby. Let me bring you a little bit closer because I'm on YouTube and Twitch live right now, so hopefully people can hear you. But yeah, you was talking about Joey Gallo. What's your thoughts, real quick, before I talk about last night's game? 100%. The situation with Gallo is just like you were saying before I clicked to come on. It's the shift. We can't wait one more year for him to be an effective member of this roster. It's going to be 1 year too long. Everybody keeps saying, what I'm worried about is Cashman going, let me hold on to him. Let me give him one more year because next year his numbers are going to be projected to this. That's not going to help us this year. This year that they have to go for it. And Gallo is not part of that equation. 100%. You hit it right on the head. If I can ask you, what's your actual name? Bobby. All right, Bobby. Hector, by the way. Hector. Nice to meet you, player. First and foremost, thank you for following me. Thank you for interacting. That's one thing I could say. As content creators, I always try to interact with everyone that's out there making content. You're more than welcome anytime we can set something up, come up on the YouTube and Twitch and get deeper into this conversation. But like you said, Brian Cashman has a tendency of trying to wait for a rose to blossom when it's not going to blossom. We've seen it over the years with Clint Frazier. We've seen it over the years with Tyler Wade. We've seen it with Gary Sanchez, right? We need to make the move now. And I think it's happening because Matt Carpenter, his playing time has gone up. And Joey Gallo, he didn't even start a game this series. I think he started on Thursday when we sat Judge. But besides that, he was out, only defensive replacement. Gallo's almost taking that role that Carpenter was brought in for, and the offense for that matter, as a utility outfielder. And it's he's not producing. That's the problem. No. You'll have that one good game, and you're like, all right, he's starting to come around. You'll have those, that game where you'll put up multiple at bats that are quality, but it's just not enough. And that's I can't look at him. Bobby, you're saying the same. We're all sounding like broken records right now because what we're seeing from Joey Gallo, and I brought it up earlier, not sure if you heard it. It's not a sample size anymore, right? It's an entire season. If you look at the numbers from last year, it's the same amount of plate appearances, it's the same amount of at bats, and it's basically identical. He hit 160 with us last year, only had 13 home runs, only had 22 RBIs, and it's basically the same thing right now. Bench. There's no value to it. Yeah. Even if you use him as a bench player, he's not consistent enough. Yeah. To justify him staying around, especially when you had a guy like Andrew that was like a service, not a top outfielder, but Andrew was a serviceable outfielder with that made contact with the ball. That's what the Yankees need. They need to, moving the runners around because then it increases the opportunity to play. Yeah. Moving runners around, hit runs. Just like I can't help it. Good and bad. What are you gonna do with not a hit run? Yeah. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Listen, Bobby, I'm a. No problem, no problem. I was gonna say I'm gonna just let you go up for the Instagram because I just have to focus on the YouTube and Twitch. If you're free to jump over to YouTube and Twitch, come on, jump over via YouTube. The link is in my bio. If you're free tomorrow, Jigga Man Porto and myself, my producer, we're gonna do a deep dive in a trade talk. So you're more than welcome if you're free tomorrow morning from the same time to jump in on YouTube. All you need is a camera. You could just clip them. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you, Bobby, and the same. Love the content as well, brother. All right, thank you. Later, baby. Yeah, that was Bobby from Pinstripe Chronicles. He is big on Instagram Live. If you guys are on Instagram, make sure you follow the Pinstripe Chronicles. Bobby, my man Bobby. Always appreciate that, man. Always appreciate different content creators, different Yankee content creators coming through, showing love. Because that's how I got the start that I have right now, right? If it wasn't for Blorange Tears and the Knicks universe, I wouldn't be sitting right here with my man Jigga Man Porto, who gave me the same opportunity. So I always like to put that same energy out into the ether. So shout out to my guy Bobby. Like I said, if you guys are on Instagram, go follow the Pinstripe Chronicles on Instagram. Go follow my guy Bobby. Go follow the team over there and support them. But now, back into this right now before we dip into off-season moves and grades. Let me talk about last night's game even more. Let me bring up this video. We're gonna start with the Yankees. Since the Yankees lost, and we always start with the losing team. Where's it at? Right here. Well, let's do this. There we go. All right, we had DJ LeMahieu leading it off, the second baseman. He was 2 for 5. Aaron Judge, who was in right field, he was 1 for 5 on the night. Anthony Antonio Rizzo, the first baseman, was 1 for 4. He had a double, almost a home run. Thank God Jackie Bradley Jr. didn't get injured on that play. It looked a bit nasty, but Giancarlo Nosipolo Stanton was 2 for 4 in left field. Josh Donaldson, he was 0 for 4. Matty Carpenter was 2 for 3 from the DH spot. Aaron Hicks, the center fielder, was 0 for 3. Jose Trevino, our amigo, was 2 for 4. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, IKF, was 1 for 4. He had that play late in the game that when Castro came in, it was in the 6th inning when Castro came in. IKF bobbled the play that he needs to make. IKF, I'm going to call you out. You need to make the routine play when you can make the routine play. That's what we need you for. If you are a defensive specialist, IKF, if you are this defensive guru, we need you to make the routine play when you have to make the routine play. Can you make a spectacular ESPN type play? Yes, you can. But you also misplay the routine ground ball over and over and over again. But now, to the pitching side. Jameson Taillon, he pitched 6 innings. Gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, and 7 Ks. If you would have asked me, I would have took out Taillon earlier. Aroldis Chapman, he pitched the inning. 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts when he came in after Taillon. Then you got Castro, who came in. Castro couldn't even record an out. He has, I put it there, you see 2 earned runs, but it has a little star right next to it. It was 4 runs in total. But because DJ LeMahieu kept calling people off that he had no business calling off, it was a struggle. But Miguel Castro, when he got no one out, he gave up 2 hits, 4 runs, 2 of them were earned, 1 walk, and he had no strikeouts. Right. And then this is where that Aaron Boone head scratcher comes in. Because in my opinion, the way that Castro and Abreu has been pitching of late, I would have trusted Abreu in that situation instead of Castro. Abreu pitched 2 innings. He did give up a hit, but he struck out 2 and he didn't walk anyone. The losing pitcher of record was Aroldis Chapman. And Aroldis Chapman also was a victim of some poor DJ LeMahieu defense as well. You know, if you get one poor defensive play from DJ LeMahieu in a game, that's a head scratcher. But when you get two misplayed defensive plays from DJ, something's up. And last night, DJ just didn't have it defensively late in the game when we need him to make that play. But both times he was calling off the outfielders. I'm just seeing my guy Keith. He said if MLB had a comeback player of the year, it'd be for 100%. 100%. Matt Carpenter deserves the comeback player of the year. They need to just randomly make that. Just make an award just so you could give it to Matt Carpenter, whatever you can. Whatever you can. Now let's look at the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox, outside of the Houston Astros, right? To me, the Boston Red Sox is the best offense we've faced outside of Houston Astros this year. So these Boston Beaners, Boston Beantown, they had Duran leading off. My man Pinstripe Chronicles is in the chat. Like I said, if you guys are on Instagram, follow my man Bobby and Pinstripe Chronicles as well. Sub to the YouTube channel Pinstripe Chronicles. But yeah, Duran led it off for the Boston Red Sox in center field, 0 for 4. Christian Vasquez, who has always been a thorn, and against the Yankees, he was 2 for 3 last night. JD Martinez, the DH, was 0 for 3. Xander Bogaerts was 0 for 3. You know, we also caught a break not having to face Rafael Devers. Rafael Devers got injured in Saturday's win that Boston had. But we did go against Alex Verdugo, who had the game-winning hit against us a couple nights ago. But he was in left field. He was 0 for 4. Trevor Story was 1 for 4, but that one was a big hit. That was the one that cleared the bases against Miguel Castro. Franchi Cordero, the first baseman who got a home run off of Jameson Taillon, he was 1 for 4. Sony hit being that home run. Jackie Bradley Jr., he was in the game, 0 for 2. And then Ralphie Devers later on in the game. No, I don't know why that's there. Yeah. Over to now the pitching side. Nick Pivetta. He pitched 3 1/3. We roughed him up a little bit, but Nick Pivetta, 8 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Ort came in afterwards. Ort pitched the inning in 2/3, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, no Ks. Soramura, who for some reason, I think Soramura has dirt on that umpire because the pitches that Soramura was throwing were all balls, but they were called strikes. It was very frustrating. That umpiring last night, very frustrating. This entire series just had umpires that went to the Angel Hernandez School of Umpiring. But Soramura, he threw those 2 innings, and he shut us down when we was trying to make a little run back. He had 2 strikeouts. Stram came in. Stram has been awesome for the Red Sox this year, but Stram, he pitched the inning, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and he had a strikeout. Brazier closed it out for the Red Sox. He pitched the inning, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and no strikeouts as well. The winning pitcher, Soramura, 5-1 on the season so far. 5-1. So yeah, we struggled against the Red Sox those last 2 games. Those are all head scratches, bullpen decisions, bullpen blow-ups. You know, it's going to happen. In 162 games, you can't, and I keep on saying it, and I know I sound like a broken record, but 162-0, you can only do that in MLB The Show, in a video game. Can't do that in real life. You're going to have the games that your bullpen's just not there. You're going to have the games that your starting pitcher just can't find the location. That's going to happen. But guys, it's 11:30. We're going to jump right into this, to this off-season grading, but just stay there for 2 seconds. Enjoy this commercial, and we'll be right back.
the morning. I remember. Take with the terror.
Oh, that's always put me in a good mood dancing wise. But yeah, let's get into this because it's July 11th. Oh my God, BX Sports Jedi is the Instagram chat. Kev, I see you, baby. But let's get into this. Perfect timing as soon as Kev shows up. Let's talk about some off-season grading so far because it is a July 11th. We're a few weeks away from the trade deadline. Let's give them grades out for Brian Cashman. So first and foremost, let me get the right one. But yeah, bingo, 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 bingo. There we go. So first move Brian Cashman made this offseason is when he DFA'd these three guys. Three guys that I think were, Yankee favorites to a certain degree. But Rougned Odor was DFA'd, sent over to the Baltimore Orioles. And so far this season, Rougned Odor, he's hitting 203, 9 home runs, 31 RBIs, only 16 walks, and an OPS of 659. So Rougned Odor, in my opinion, as awesome as he was for a team, from a team perspective last year, his team is better without him. Wish him luck in Baltimore. He got the beard back, which he looked super awkward last year, but wish him the best. But now let's move over to Tyler Wade, who was a organization baby, fan favorite of the organization for years. But Tyler Wade, he was just released also from the LA Angels. Tyler Wade set 218 on the season, has 1 home run, 8 RBIs, 10 walks, and has a 544 OPS. And like I said, he was just DFA'd himself from the Angels. Now, is it a team that can use Tyler Wade? Because Tyler Wade is fast, very versatile, very versatile, right? Could play every outfield spot, could play infield positions as well. But hopefully he catches on. But the last guy on the list, shout out my guy John from Still Nick fans. These were really solid moves for Cash. Yeah. Shedding off this money, DFAing these guys in order to make space to bring up guys that we have to bring up. But Clint Frazier, who is you guys are wondering, what's that J in front of Frazier? Clint Frazier has changed his name to Jackson Frazier. So shout out to Jackson Frazier. Jackson is his middle name. So Jackson Frazier with the Chicago Cubs, he was released early on, right before the series between the Cubs and the Yankees. But Jackson Frazier, he hit 216 for the Cubs. He didn't have a home run, only 1 RBI, 7 walks, and an OPS of 653. So this right here, honestly, if I could do it, stamp an A+. Because none of these three is a player that we're missing that much. Marwin Gonzalez has been a way better addition than Tyler Wade when it comes to having that utility guy that could play all over the diamond. Marwin Gonzalez, better pickup, right? Bringing in Josh Donaldson, solidifying that infield, a better move and a better way of having than Rougned Odor, right? And the same thing for Jackson Frazier. having Josh Donaldson and having the ability to have Aaron Judge in center field, Stanton in right field or left field, depending on the ballpark we're in, having that ability to open up the lineup even more just makes this team a lot more dangerous. Ultimately, I think taking Aaron Judge from center field and putting him in right field probably be best for the team, just because you don't want Judge's legs to like wear out on him. We've seen it this past week when he had like a calf issue that he had to sit out a game. But over to the next one. Oh, I'm going to get to Jose Trevino. Don't worry. Do not worry. I'll get to Trevino. But the second move, in my opinion, under the radar, is the coaching staff. It's the coaching staff, if you ask me. Dylan Lawson has been with the Yankees in the organization for the past 3 or 4 years, right? Last year when this team was struggling, we blamed it a lot on Marcus Thames, who was the hitting coach. Marcus Thames got a lot of credit the year before, but we were bad last year. And Marcus Thames had to go. But Dylan Lawson, now granted, the season we're having right now, is it credited towards Dylan Lawson? Different philosophy from that hitting perspective? We don't know. We just got to point to what it's showing. Eric Chavez, an assisting hitting coach, first year with us. Eric Chavez, who Aaron Boone says he's doing a lot more than just an assisting hitting coach. He's also an infield instructor. You know, him and Louis Rojas, when it comes to outfield coaching, they're working together. So Eric Chavez, solid addition to the coaching staff. Now, Luis Rojas, who I just mentioned, I know a lot of people, a lot of Met fans were upset with the way he managed last year, but Luis Rojas at third base, definitely an upgrade over Phil Nevin. Definitely an upgrade. Definitely. 100% an upgrade over Phil Nevin. Because we've seen it last year. How many times did Phil Nevin wave somebody blue by third base and they were thrown out at home? So far, we've probably seen that once from Luis Rojas, maybe twice. But under the radar move from Brian Cashman, the coaching staff, the addition of Dylan Lawson, the addition of Eric Chavez, the addition of Luis Rojas, who is not just the third base coach, but he's also the outfield coach as well. Solid moves from Brian Cashman. I know a lot of people want to bash Brian Cashman, but you got to give him his flowers when he does good. This right here is another move that I would grade an A if I had to. If I had to stamp, give it a big old A right there. You see, Phil Nevin lost us the wild card game last year. Yeah. Besides the struggles from a Garrett Cole, absolutely. Phil Nevin lost us the wild card game last year. And also, Phil Nevin was the guy that they drafted ahead of Derek Jeter for some reason. I don't know why. But next move was the trade with the Minnesota Twins. Now, this move right here, this trade right here, it's been a lot of back and forth. It's been a lot of up and downs. It's been a lot of we want it, they want it, they want it, we want it. It's just it hasn't been a solid consensus on this trade. So let's try to break it down and let's try to get a solid feel of what do you think this trade brought. We were able to get Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson, he's batting .231 on the season, 9 home runs, 33 RBIs. He's walked 29 times, and he has an OPS of 726, which is above league average. But he has been struggling. He came to life in this Boston series in the first 2 games, but in the last couple of games, struggled. Saturday when we lost, he bobbled a ground ball, double play. Wandy Peralta wanted and needed to end the game. Should have won that game. Josh Donaldson bobbled. Hurt us. And getting Josh Donaldson was supposed to be a move that solidified that infield. So Josh Donaldson alone Saturday cost us the game. Now look at yesterday's game. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, when Castro was in the game. Granted, not going to say that cost us the game because Boston went on to score 7 unanswered runs. Not going to say that bobble that IKF had cost us the game, but it didn't put us in a good position either. But IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, so far on the season, he's batting 268. He's still in search of his first home run, only has 20 RBIs, 17 base on balls, and he has an OPS of 633. And the catcher we received, 24-year-old catcher who we thought was going to have an impact this season, but Ben Reutevet, he's been injured. He hasn't even played a game in the minors. So he's been injured his entire season. Now over to the Twins and what they got. The Minnesota Twins, they received Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez is batting 221, 10 home runs, and 36 RBIs, 17 walks, and an OPS of 702. Yankee fans, I could say that I can live without Gary Sanchez. I think I'm all good with Jose Trevino, our amigo. But Gary Sanchez has split time mostly at DH and at the catching position for the Minnesota Twins. It was a stretch where he was carrying them for a week, but he's come back down to reality. I'm happy without him. Now, Gio Urshela. Now, Gio is somebody that I would have rather keep over Josh Donaldson. That's just me. But Gio, he's batting 267, 8 home runs, 35 RBIs, and he has 20 walks. And he has an OPS of 728. One thing I'm going to say is Josh Donaldson's WAR may be a little bit higher than Gio's, but Gio's batting average is better. Gio has 1 less home run than Josh Donaldson. Gio has 2 more RBIs. Now the walks, that's where it sticks out because Josh Donaldson has 29 and Gio has 20. But Gio's OPS is 2 points higher than Donaldson. And what did that move, this trade, allow the Twins to do? They allowed them to free up some cash. They cleared some cash in order to sign Carlos Correa. My man, he says, B- defensive upgrade with the offense. Yep. 100%. To me, this trade, it's a B- close to a C+. Just like Bobby from Pinstripe Chronicles. It's a B- close to a C+, if you ask me. Gio is who makes the trade questionable, 100%. That's a player that I would have wanted to keep. If we had to be able to choose one player to keep, would have been Gio Urshela. If we would have been able to get another team aboard so they could take Josh Donaldson and we throw them some money for Josh, but keep Gio. I would have loved to keep Gio on this team. Now, if you want to talk about chemistry, if you want to talk about, we can't make a move on Gallo or whoever because of chemistry, Gio Urshela was great chemistry to this locker last year. Now, people want to say that Josh Donaldson brings an edge, brings an attitude. Yeah, he brings an edge and an attitude. He's a dick. He's a whole dick. But I'm gonna need Josh Donaldson to go on a tear and carry us for 2 weeks. I'm calling it out right now. Hopefully, this series against Cincinnati, he could beat up on Cincinnati pitching and get a second do-over against the Boston Red Sox after that, right? But I'm going to need Josh Donaldson to step it up. Point blank, period. Now, let's move on to the next one. The re-signing of Anthony Rizzo, I think, was a solid move and a solid pickup from Brian Cashman. When we got Anthony Rizzo last year, I loved it last year. But re-signing him, and you see it, the friendship that him and Aaron Judge able to foster over now, which is his entire season last year to now, it just does so much for the team chemistry. Like Anthony Rizzo and Aaron Judge, you could tell they're actually good friends. Love to see it. So this right here, I'm gonna grade this as a solid A. If I wish I had that stamp that teachers had, but yeah, grade this a solid A. Not gonna say A-, and I'm not gonna say A+. I'm gonna just give it a solid A. Good signing. His numbers 226 average, 22 home runs, 54 RBIs. He's got 37 walks, and he has an OPS of 850. I think Anthony Rizzo, that batting average will turn around and will pick back up as the season goes on. You could probably see him get that batting average over the 240 to 250. But so far, so good. Anthony Rizzo is another candidate for when that when they remove the shift next year to have his batting average jump up several points from 226 possibly to 270, 280, maybe 300. We don't know. But the next move, trading for Miguel Castro. Now, we saw Miguel Castro last night implode, especially when he got some shoddy defense behind him. But trading Jolin Rodriguez for a Miguel Castro, it's another solid move. Jolie Rodriguez is pitching horrible for the Mets. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Mets sent him down or released him. So getting Miguel Castro, who is pitching to a 3.33 ERA and 27 innings, he has 30 strikeouts. He's only walked 12 batters, and he's 5-1 so far in the season. So another solid pickup and another solid addition from Brian Cashman. Miguel Castro, I know a lot of Yankee fans, they have the "what have you done for me lately" mentality, and they may be burnt because last night Miguel Castro was the one who started that 7th inning that allowed Boston to beat up on us. But so far this season, he has been solid. I give this move a B- from Brian Cashman. Easy B-, not a B, not a B+, a B-. But that's another move from the analytic department, from the numbers guys that Brian Cashman has. Let's see this next one. Bingo. Now, this is what Keith was waiting for. Jose Trevino, our amigo, was named an all-star last night. If you guys missed the video, there's a nice video that the Yankees put out of each player, Clay Holmes, Jose Trevino, finding out that I made the all-star team. John Carlos. But Trevino batting 255. He has 7 home runs, 26 RBIs, 10 walks, and he has an OPS of 741. And he's playing Gold Glove defense behind the plate. Now, as Yankee fans, one thing we know we've been missing has been solid defense from our catching position. And I'm gonna keep on going at this. As great as an offensive threat Gary Sanchez was, the potential was there, the talent was there. He never fully tapped into it. He never fully put it all together, but the potential was there. Even with all that potential from Gary Sanchez, we have to go back to what made this team a dynasty. When you look at that late 90s team that won a dynasty, that started a dynasty, 96, 98, 99, 2000, what did they have behind the plate? They had solid defense. It started behind the plate and up the middle. Before the 96 championship, we had Mike Stanley, who was an all-star offensive catcher, an all-star. We traded Mike Stanley away and got Joe Girardi, defensive first catcher. That's what we did. And we won a championship with it. You got to have that starting behind the plate and up the middle. When we look up the middle, now our shortstop, he's a little iffy. IKF, you're a little iffy. You got a little bug on your back, IKF. You need to shape it up as well. Because if not, the same way Joey Gallo's playing time has disappeared, IKF, Marvin Gonzalez can literally do the same thing for you. Can slide it and take some of your playing time away. Why? Because yes, IKF has the speed, right? Yes, IKF puts the ball in play. But with Marvin Gonzalez, you have the threat of somebody who could take the ball out the ballpark. Period. As awesome as a player IKF is, right? as great as he can make that spectacular play out of nowhere, you got to call it out when you got to call it out. Having Marvin Gonzalez in that lineup would be a bigger threat than IKF at this moment, especially from a defensive point of view, because IKF has been struggling. And last but not least, so I would say the pickup of Jose Trevino, give that an A plus right away. No F ands or but. A plus all-star Jose Trevino, our amigo. But last but not least, not re-signing Aaron Judge. Not re-signing Aaron Judge. And this right here, it's a F. This gets an F because the season that Aaron Judge is happening, he's batting 284, is leading all of baseball with 30 home runs, 65 RBIs, has 41 walks, has an OPS of 980, wins above replacement is through the roof for Aaron Judge. Not re-signing Aaron Judge, I have to give you an F on this, Brian Cashman and the Yankees. The only offseason move that you were not able to pull off was the re-signing of Aaron Judge. Now let me know, Yankee fans, if you're in the chat, let me know what numbers are you looking for Judge? Because me personally, give Judge an 8-year, $320 million contract. It's easy for me to spend someone else's money, but I'm offering Judge an 8-year, 320, which would mean 40 million per. If you want to throw in that 9th year as an option, a team option, or a player option, do that. But yeah, you got to sign Judge. He is the face of baseball. He is the face of the Yankees. You got to sign him. Now, if there's a team that comes out of the woodworks to offer Judge $400 million over the same amount of time, over 8 years, $400 million over 8 years, 420 over 8 years, Judge, go make your money. Go make your money. If there's another team that comes in and say that they're willing to pay Aaron Judge $420 million over 9-10 years, Aaron Judge, go make your money. Because as a Yankee fan, as much as I want you back with us, I don't think I can stomach that. I don't think there's any way that the Yankees will make that happen. Right? Like I said, if the San Francisco Giants come and they offer you 8 years at 320, go ahead. Take it. 420, go ahead. Make your money. Sign your deal. Do what you have to do. I don't think the Yankees are going to pony up $400 million for Aaron Judge, who's 31 years old. I know a lot of Yankee fans want him to be named captain, but I think that's only going to happen if he comes back and re-signs with us. If he doesn't, why would the Yankees name him captain for half of a season? You know, it's just what it is. But like I said yesterday, tonight there's no Yankee game, so we will be back on tomorrow. But tomorrow is going to be a special episode. It's going to be a trade deadline special, not trade deadline, but it's going to be a trade special, right? I'm gonna have my brother Jiggerman Porto, join us for this trade special. Probably bring in a few other people. Probably my man Bobby from Pinstripe Chronicles would be able to come in, chime in for a few with us. But yeah, tomorrow we'll be talking about the trade deadline. We'll be talking about different players, who we want, who we don't want, what prospects we're willing to give up, what prospects we're not willing to give up in a trade. That will be all tomorrow. Keep following. But before I dip out, before I leave, because it's getting about that time, let me just take a gander around the league real quick. Like I said, the Yankees are off on Monday. And is it just me, or is like there's hardly any time, like there's hardly anyone playing on Monday? Hardly anyone playing on Monday. That's just me though. But in Major League Baseball, the New York Mets start a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves. And the Mets The Mets only have a game and a half lead on those Braves. So we may have a new NL East leader by the time that series is over. Tune in for that because I know a lot of Met fans going to be in their bag. But the Yankees, 61-25. Like I said, collective sigh of relief because we're still 14 games up on Boston. We're 15 and a half games up on Tampa Bay, 16 and a half games up on the Toronto Blue Jays. And also as well, you guys don't sleep on the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles won 8 in a row after last night's win. They are 1 game under 500, 2 games behind Toronto for that last playoff spot. Or not even, because Seattle overtook Toronto. So it's a bit interesting. That wild card race is a bit interesting. Adding that third wild card team, to me, right now, as we're looking at, has been the best thing that Rob Manfred has done as a commissioner. We could bash him for other things, right? But that adding that extra wild card team, that third wild card team, a solid move. And it's just so much competition now. But yeah, Baltimore is still in it. The Minnesota Twins, that building up that lead in the central and in the AL Central. They're getting a little bit cushion on the Guardians, but the Twins are 48-40. They got a 4.5 lead on the Guardians. The Chicago White Sox, just total disappointment this year. I understand they dealt with injuries, but I thought the White Sox would be in first place. You know, they have so much talent on that team. Tony, it's sad because Tony La Russa is going to get blamed for it, as he should. But Tony La Russa, I don't think he's going to survive the entire season. But over to the West, you got the Houston Astros, who are 56-29. The Seattle Mariners are creeping their way back into the conversation, but the Seattle Mariners are 12 games behind the Astros at 45-42. Like I said, the Braves are 1.5 games behind the Mets. The Phillies are 7 games behind. So that NL East is shaping up to be a battle. In the Central, you got the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals battling back and forth. Milwaukee's in first place by only 2.5 games over St. Louis. Over in the West, you got the Dodgers, who are pulling away from the Padres. The Padres are struggling right now, but the Dodgers are 56-29. The Padres are 49-38. They are 8 games behind those Dodgers. And the San Francisco Giants seem like the gas is running out of their engine, but they're 43-41. They're 12.5 games behind. But now let's look at this wild card race, because this wild card race is super intriguing. In the American League, you got Boston, Tampa, Seattle, Toronto, Baltimore, and Cleveland. The top 3 teams, Boston, are 47-39. Tampa is 45-40, and the Seattle Mariners are 45-42. They are tied with the Toronto Blue Jays, right? But the way that the tiebreaker works out now in baseball is all about run differential, right? It's your different. It's the points that you score, is the runs that you score. So now, if my team is up by 10 runs in the 7th or 8th inning, and we are tied for a wild card spot, I'm still going to try to score some runs, because the runs that I score, that's going to decide the tiebreaker. So right now, the tiebreaker goes to the Seattle Mariners. They have a run differential of plus 22. It said, Keith says, how about the most? Yeah, because look at it right now. You got Boston, Tampa, Seattle, but then you got Toronto, the Baltimore Orioles, and then the Cleveland Guardians. So when you look at the 6 teams that are battling for that wild card spot, 4 of them are from the same division. Boston, Tampa, Toronto, Baltimore are from the same division. If anybody says that the AL East isn't the toughest division in baseball, I want to see you outside. Give me 15 seconds in the box. Honestly. Because you cannot look at this wild card standing. You cannot look at this season so far and say that the AL East is not the toughest team in baseball. Come on. Now let's go over to the National League, right? In the National League, you got the Braves, who are in first place for the wild card. They could possibly overtake the Mets within the next few days. But the Braves are 52-35. They got a 5.5 game lead on the Padres, who are 49-38. The Phillies are 46-40. St. Louis is 46-42. San Francisco is 43-41. And the Miami Marlins are 41-43. So out of those 6 teams, 3 of those teams are in the same division in the NL East. You got the Braves, the Phillies, and the Marlins. The Phillies, after firing Joe Girardi, it looks like a whole different team. A whole different team. Guaranteed Joe Girardi would catch on somewhere, be an announcer, and get another job as a manager. Of course he will. But the Phillies, their season is alive because of that third wild card team. The Miami Marlins, their season is alive because of that third wild card team. Baltimore Orioles, the same thing. Their season's still alive because of that third wild card team. So, like I said, Rob Manfred and MLB adding that third wild card team, it's been the best thing Rob Manfred has done as a commissioner. The best thing. Besides suspending A-Rod for that time or whatever, but the best thing. But guys, Yankees do have an off day tonight. Like I said, we will be back tomorrow with a trade special, with a trade episode. So please make sure you tune in tomorrow as well. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. We are at 482 on our way to 500 and beyond. Appreciate all the new subscribers. Appreciate all the new followers as well on Instagram and Twitter. If you aren't following me on Instagram, down below Project Nerd HQ. If you're not following me on Twitter, down below Yankees Brew KOD or Yankees Morning Brew on Twitter. However you can put it in there, you'll find it. As well, subscribe to the Knights of DJim. Make sure you follow KOD Media on Twitter. And guys, you have a good one. This is your guy, Project Nerd HQ, and I'm checking out. Peace.
Damn, like the morning and remember when to take 10 with the 10 mark. Remember damn, like the morning and remember when to take 10 with the 10.